All right, we're live. It's Tuesday evening. Time for another episode of Attack of the Androids. Every Tuesday, you guys can watch, of course, on attackoftheandroids.com/live. We got our own YouTube page and Google Plus and all that. It's all linked to, so check that out. If you want to follow the show, follow along here. It's good for ya. So, make sure that, all right.
For centuries, we've been warned about little green men.
Now, they are coming. They're coming for you. Prepare for the attack of the android.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It is Tuesday, February 10th, 2015. This is episode 147 of Attack of the Androids. Every week, Tuesday evening, check it out, attackoftheandroids.com. I'm Matt Lee. That's Eric Finkenbiener. What's up, Eric?
Yeah, hold on, Matt. I'm trying to come up with more tags to use in the show notes. Just 1 second.
Oh, that's good. I at last count there was only 1,500, so I was thinking we were a little light on the tags. If you could add maybe 20 per episode, new ones, that'd be cool.
Yeah. I'm shooting for an even 2,000.
I like that. Also joining us, Nick Carroll. How you doing, Nick?
Hey guys, glad to be back.
And special guest all the way from the New York, we got Dan Patterson. How you doing, Dan?
Hey, Matt. It's great to be with you on this cold night.
Cold, that's crazy. I was just up on the mountain here where it should be cold, and it was actually raining. So
Yeah, we traded weather.
yeah, no kidding. I don't know how much you want to mention it, but you want to give a little background to who you are. You recently had some blog love happening. I don't know if can you talk about that? Mention real quick.
Yeah, well, I mean, you and I have been friends for quite a while, but we recently had the opportunity to work pretty closely on some web projects, which was very cool. Along with Ant Pruitt, who I think Ant's going to join us later, right?
Yeah, he should be on here in a bit.
The amazing Anthony Pruitt. So I was a reporter. I live in Brooklyn. I write for some places. I recently sold a blog called The Zombie Apocalypse to a company and took a position as head of digital for their comic book arm. So now I don't have to worry about deadlines and reports anymore. I just have to worry about making sure that comic books are fantastic online. So that's
awesome.
So far, it's a fun gig.
What do you know about zombies, Dan?
I know that the zombie apocalypse is inevitable, and if you visit thezombieapocalypse.com, you will learn about this. So this is crazy. I don't want to bend your ear too much, but this blog I'm real proud of. This started as a hobby with some friends of mine and I back in 2009, early 2010 maybe. We all read the book World War Z by Max Brooks, and these are friends who are we're kind of like history and policy nerds, and we went to school together. And so, and if you've ever read World War Z, it's this fantastic metaphor for. It uses zombies as a metaphor for how world governments react to crisis situations. It's a fantastic book.
And this is completely different from the World War Z movie with Brad Pitt.
Yeah,
I read the book and I was expecting all of these awesome little stories. Like in the book, it kind of jumps around from the rich people to the not rich people and this and that. Nothing like the book.
Right,
so definitely read the book.
Right. It's nuts. So we decided to just start a zombie Tumblr, right? Like just a blog, a hobby thing while we were. No, you know what it was? The zombie Tumblr came from we made a game, a geo-local go fight zombies while you're out on your phone kind of game. It was when Foursquare was hot and stuff. And we started a zombie Tumblr to go along with that, a zombie blog to go along with that. And the blog kind of took off. The game kind of fizzled, and the blog at some point. I think the people who read it are between maybe 15 and 25, and I stay away from guns and violence and sex and stuff. But they at some point one of them asked if they could be on the zombie apocalypse survival team. I didn't ask them to. They just Tumblr has an ask question feature. So I was like, yeah, sure, you kick ass, blah blah blah. And then thousands of them. I'm not kidding. Like at any given moment, this inbox is full of hundreds of kids who all are like say, this is what I'm good at. This is why like I should be on the zombie apocalypse survival
Yeah,
team.
I saw that. One kid was like, I'm kind of a medic, but I play music and something.
Right.
And I cook and I entertain, and I'm also a doctor.
Right, exactly. So I've tried to stay like positive. You know, you don't want to be a creep or a weirdo or anything, and you don't want to encourage violence. But like these are really, I say kids, but it's a ton of different people from a ton of different walks of life. And you know, some of them have like, you know, my good friend Stephanie has helped manage this community a little bit, and now at Double Take, you know, we have this fantastic team of people who are really helping to like just make this better and bigger, like not change what it is, but make it like, all right, let's really build a zombie apocalypse survival team. How cool is that? So that's what I do, man.
That's cool.
Sorry on the digression,
that's awesome.
but
we should tell people who you are and everything. And that's totally. We should start things off. You're an iPhone user. I've never heard of this. It's called reachability, and apparently, Boy Genius Report, they have an article about how there's a little hack that you can do to get this on your Android device.
Cool.
So what is reachability? Is this?
Yeah. So I should say I've used all all different platforms from Windows Phone to we were talking in the pre-show about that the fantastic Palm phone from ages ago.
The Treo.
Yeah, the Treo.
Did you say the Treo? Shut up.
I said a Treo.
A Treo. Oh man.
Oh, that's
nostalgia. But yeah, I so I don't really have a bias. I just tend to use Apple products for work and life and such.
So is reachability, is that something you use on your device a lot? Like it sounds kind of cool. You tilt it and it brings the top part of the screen down so you can actually reach it. Gives your phone more reachability.
So when the iPhone was first unveiled, right, there's this all this ballyhoo about Steve Jobs found the perfect form factor, quote unquote, at 3.5 inches, which is really, it is nice in your hand. Like a 3.5-inch phone, you can touch the whole thing with your thumb, and that's what he wanted, right? But of course, everybody wants bigger screens. Android really, really innovated with bigger screens, and so the iPhone responded. But of course, a lot of people, you can't reach across the entire screen, right? Like you can't use a thumb to reach the whole screen on the iPhone 6 or the 6 Plus. And so you tap the home button. The home button is also a touch screen, so you tap it twice and it brings down, it just slides everything on the top of the screen down to 3.5 inches, so you can easily navigate around the phone without like sliding the entire device around your hand. It's a really clever little thing.
Yeah, I threw a video of this in the show notes because I had no idea what it was either. I think that the big news story here is that Dan Patterson has small baby hands.
Yes, that's the reveal.
It's an interesting thing. It seems like if you look at how it's done on Android, so you have to have root, you have to install the exposed framework, and you use Tasker. But it doesn't look like it's doing exactly what it does in iOS, because in iOS it seems like the entire screen, so the home page would shrink down. Yeah. But in this, it looks like only the widget had shrunk down.
Maybe that's all they were trying to tap on. You don't know.
Just reach that widget.
Right?
Just tap that widget.
Yeah, I do have to say that's pretty ingenious. It's kind of interesting that Apple, came out with this feature, and it's actually pretty good. For their first try at a really big phone, it's a pretty useful feature for it, and we haven't really seen that built into any of the operating systems that I know of on the Android side, or at least the little different launchers that they have out there. So that's pretty cool.
How do you guys,
especially coming from the land of big phones?
Yeah, what phones do you guys use?
First gen Moto X.
Nexus 5. Eric, however, has a large phone.
Ooh, yeah, how's that?
I actually don't anymore.
What?
The Oppo's going on Swappa, my friends. Now, I purchased a Moto X 2014. It will be waiting for me at home in the loving arms of my wife. So that'll be nice. And I also have
hers. It's now hers, so.
No, it's not hers. She has her Nexus 5 and she will love it. I also have an iPhone 5S for work.
How do you
So.
like your iPhone, bud?
I don't really.
How do you like its reachability?
No, the reachability is great. You know,
Nice.
I really good reach. No, I do like that. It's really nice.
Okay,
Thanks for asking.
a couple weeks ago, I mentioned an app called Quality Time, and it's that app that monitors everything you do on your phone and takes that data and presents it in a nice, way that you can get some information from it, like what do you stare at on your phone the most, how many times. Let's just say today, for example, I've unlocked my screen 76 times. And I've used my phone for about 3 hours and 55 minutes. If we go back, you can look at weekly usage now, which is kind of cool. It shows you on a week-by-week basis what you spend most of your time doing. Of course, out of my 17 and a half hours on my phone, this is last week, Facebook, right at the top, taking up 3 hours and 32 minutes, followed by Gmail at 1 hour and 52 minutes, then TextSecure, BeyondPod, and Instagram. If you look weekly, I open TextSecure 163 times. And I love like the way they lay it out. If you're watching the live show here, you can see I'll put some screenshots of this at attackoftheandroids.com in the show notes. But very useful, very nice and clean and beautiful. I thought maybe it would lag the phone a bunch. Totally not the case. It doesn't eat up battery any more than the phone did before. Like I don't notice it running, which is cool. Except when I pull down my notification panel and I see how many times I've unlocked my stupid phone. But other than that, it's cool. Have you guys messed with it yet, Eric?
No, I'm going to put it on my phone once I get my phone, but
right,
I haven't messed with it.
What, Dan?
Oh,
sorry. Go ahead, Nick.
I was going to say, I just installed it, and I do plan on checking it out. I noticed there's that take a break feature. Have you tried that? Where it basically
No,
prevents you from
because
using it?
I'm an adult, and I don't need my phone to tell me when to take a break.
You don't need to be controlled. You just want to know what your limits are, I guess. I don't know.
It is kind of cool, yeah. And what the take a break thing, basically, you set a boundary for a specific app, and you say once it'll warn you when you're getting close to that boundary that, hey, you might have a problem. We're going to have an intervention for you, perhaps. And then I think it'll lock you out of using it if you set that function, which is kind of interesting. All about like your digital diet, I guess, and slimming down and being conscious of exactly how much time we're spending with these things. Obviously, my use case is a little different because we have podcasts and we write and all that stuff, but it would be interesting to see like a normal person's use case if it's like Angry Birds, Candy Crush, Flipboard.
I don't think I use my phone that much, but now that I've installed it, I guess I'll find out next week what I've been gravitating towards.
Obviously, the longer it's installed, the better data it can give you. But yeah, you can set usage alerts and all that. You can share your snapshots or whatever with whatever you can share with on Android. Pretty cool. Dan, any thoughts on that? Quality Time.
I think I've heard of a few similar apps for iOS, and I think it's a really interesting idea. I also think I'm a little scared to use it.
Started out as an iOS app, actually.
You said that you hit the nail on the head, man. It's like the promise of big data, at least for consumers, or at least accessibility to data, is that you can kind of bend the curve, right? It's exactly like you said. The more you are aware of your behavior and your usage, if you're unaware of this, you can't really make changes if you want to make changes. Right. So this gives you the opportunity, if you do want to kind of limit your Candy Crush time or something, if you are aware, you can stop the crush.
Even just for me, it was more about just the analytics. Like, what do I spend more time? I mean, I had an idea, obviously. I'm the one that's staring at my phone. But it's interesting to have it running for month after month to see, like, exactly we're on our phones a lot. I mean, personally, I speak from like I'm on my phone a lot.
Interestingly, you could try it with different devices. Like, how do you use your tablet compared to your smartphone? Well, if you have this installed on both, you could actually kind of get an idea of what you're doing. So
it's good stuff. Good stuff. Let's see. Oh, I kind of just filled this out actually right before the show. Did you guys see Google giving away 2 gigs of drive space if you do a quick little safety check? And basically all it does, you go through your account stuff, and it's like, is this still your email address? Is this still your thing? You can check out your secret questions if you use that crap. Two-factor authentication, all the apps that have had access to your stuff here. And yeah, once you do that, I guess it'll get validated, and then you get 2 gigs extra of drive storage. That's nice of them.
Yeah, I did not see anything, aside from the article that says you will get the space. I didn't see anything actually telling you while you were going through the process that, hey, you're going to get some space after this. So I guess maybe you're just doing it on faith. However, it's a really good exercise to go through. I know that I removed some old devices that I didn't have anymore, that I didn't use anymore. Some old, like when you go to a website and it says log in with Google, that all shows up on the page. So you can remove these things, which is probably a good idea. There's probably crap on there that you forgot that you even authorized a long time ago.
I had some wicked old stuff on there for sure, like My Sixth Sense old.
My Sixth Sense, the most horrible app in the world.
Oh, and speaking of the most horrible app in the world, Currents, I found a new, and I didn't even think to throw this in the doc, but I don't know if you guys have heard of it. It's called Smart News, and it's basically just like Currents, I guess, kind of like a flipbook or flipboard of sorts. Flipbook. But yeah, you select which news places you want, and it will give you updates. So you can say, I want my morning update at 8 a.m., I want my midday update at 1, and I want my evening news update at 7. And it will send you little snippets of important articles that it thinks you like at those days. It's kind of cool.
I think this is interesting. How I use Feedly, so it's that's been my feed aggregator. I don't know that I would move away from that, but the fact that this sort of, I could see some benefit to that.
Yeah. You, Dan, you use any kind of newsreader like that? Feedly?
Yeah. Yeah, man, I'm a big RSS champion, and I always will be. I mean, feed. The best thing to happen to feeds and feed readers and innovation in that space was Google Reader dying. There's a ton of cool readers out there. Feedly is fantastic. It's really easy to use. I'm partial to there's another one called NewsBlur, which is also pretty cool. I'm partial to FeedWrangler. Feed Wrangler is it's $20 a year. It's almost more of a platform than anything else. You can manage feeds and subscriptions in there, but it's a pretty basic interface. But what it does is act as a platform for any other app that you want to use. So you can connect it if you want to Feedly, or if you want it like on the iPhone. I use a couple different feed reading apps. I use this app called Unread and another app called Reader, and it's Wrangler is great. It's fantastic. It syncs everywhere. It's fast. It's a platform. It's great.
If you're watching here, you can see kind of what it looks like on my phone. Nice material design and all that. But yeah, just another way to get your news from a preset of either categories or actual sites. They got The Verge and The Onion and Time, stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know. I kind of like it. It's just another news thing. Not so much focused around RSS like Feedly is and everything, which that's what I'm more into because I've been collecting RSS feeds for so long. Like, you have your own curated stuff, even though people have said that RSS is dead. Use it. But yeah, this is kind of cool. It's all it just does it for you. So
no, Feed Wrangler is all just RSS, pure feeds.
Yeah, and that lets you can hook it up to different accounts if you want to share stuff out or whatever.
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
I like the typography, and I like the way it's set up, and I like its smart view, which is basically it gives you nice, very beautiful, almost medium-esque text to read for your articles. So,
what do you guys make of the RSS is dead thing?
As far as podcasting, I mean, if anything's keeping it alive, it's blogs and podcasts. But yeah, I don't know. The more we get towards people getting their news from Facebook or social networks or whatever, the less they'll use it. But it'll always have a place, I feel like.
Yeah, I've not really used RSS any myself. It's one of the technologies I've actually kind of avoided. Not like deliberately. It's just not really been on my radar. But like a lot of others, I tend to watch either YouTube videos or I'll get my news from Facebook. Interestingly, so.
You're part of the problem, Nick.
Do you get it from other people on Facebook, or do you follow actual news sites that you get it from?
Mostly from friends and family that tend to post that. Also, I'm a Google Plus, and I get a lot from there too. So between that and many of the YouTube channels that I follow, I get most of my news that way. And then I have a handful of websites that I just go out to and visit, from a desktop browser. So that's mostly how I use my my internet prowess.
Nice.
I think it's funny, like when people say RSS is dead. They're talking about like the general public sense that
They're
people
just
don't use
haters.
it.
Don't be a hater.
They're haters. But I mean, when was RSS alive? Like, as if we use that definition that the public is using it and everybody knows RSS, it's always been sort of something that the more technical, maybe nerdy, geeky folks used, and they're still using it. I don't see it going away.
Because it's a protocol. It's not a product, which I think is what confuses people. They expect. Well, this is an old debate, but people RSS was hyped as like a thing that you could get when it's way more like email. It's a protocol. It's a way of delivering information, and it's like that. To even understand that means that you have to have some curiosity about technology, which means you're kind of a nerd and you get it.
I think Twitter may have, to some extent, replaced it as well for some, but I mean RSS in and of itself will tend to lead you down to the websites, if you follow enough, the stream of news, etc.
Did you guys hear the Samsung thing about their smart TVs? And they're like, don't say anything. I feel like it's too hoaxy, like it's too perfect. I want it to be true so bad, but I feel like it's going to be a hoax. But they're like, don't talk about personal biz in front of our TVs. It's like, well, really? Because your TVs are in our living rooms and our bedrooms and our every damn room in our houses. Like how are you going to do that, Samsung?
How are you going to do that, Samsung?
Oh.
Yeah,
you unplug the everybody knows this. You unplug the TV from the wall when you're not using it. It's quite obvious. And you shouldn't be talking when the TV's on anyway. That's just annoying.
That's
so
true,
it's your
right?
fault.
What are you trying to watch this?
And cover up that Kinect sensor on your Xbox, while you're at it.
So
I would more expect this story to come out of Microsoft. Like, hey, that camera and motion sensor and all that good stuff, maybe don't talk about really important things in front of it.
They actually made a clone of you holographically with all of this information, so we won't be needing you anymore. Creepy? Is it a stunt trying to drum up like, ooh, Samsung's in the news again? Is it legit? It's smart, man. Smart stuff, right? Too smart for its own good.
It's a stunt. I mean, I don't think that it's anything. We talked about last week. Samsung lost ground in India to was it Micromax. I think that a lot of us would probably agree that the quality of Samsung phones, sort of like the factory of let's just crank out another Galaxy S something, has sort of left a lot of people with Samsung fatigue. So take it where you can get it. I mean, they leaked a story about cases last week, for God's sake. Cases!
Samsung fatigue. I like that.
I feel it.
What's wrong with the cases? Oh,
yeah.
I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and of course, all of the tech outlets have articles on how to disable those features on your phone. Sorry, I went snowboarding today and my leg keeps cramping up. I'm like trying not to kick the desk like a getting old. But yeah, you can you basically just turn off the voice track stuff. So, and see, I feel like all of these devices have had this for quite a while. Nobody's come out and been like, oh, by the way, you should not. Like, I feel like they brought that attention to it, or somebody brought it, and then they're like, oh, well, crap. Now
Yeah,
what?
that's something I've never even thought of, and now all of a sudden I have to take a good look at all my smart TVs just to make sure I'm
Well,
not being watched.
I think this stuff. This is. I think this is the next big, not big trend, but like everything in the next 18 months. So I bet Apple puts out a Beats pill, like those Bluetooth speakers that has Siri baked into it, right? Definitely Beats headphones will have Siri baked into it. Amazon had their weird thing that listened to you and
Alexa.
used Alexa, right? This is the next thing that will be appliance that will be in your house because it'll be cheap. It'll be in your television. It'll be in your Xbox. It'll be in. I mean, I have a Jambox, Jawbone Jambox, right? And it's connected by Bluetooth to my iPhone. So if I want to do Siri, it has microphones on it. So I just do Siri wherever I am, and the Jambox is powerful enough it can hear me. So it's like having this ambient sound thing is just going to be. I mean, the nonsense term will be like ambient intelligence, right?
Yeah, artificially intelligent.
Here, their Siri just went off in the background, right? She could hear me talking, and she heard me say something to her, right? Here, check this out.
I mean,
Right.
Even
Hey,
from a
Siri.
security standpoint, like, what does it take to just be able to tap that? Like, it's listening only when you say the keyword, but what if I change that to just...
Exactly. Right, exactly. And to
Pruitt,
secretly record you.
yeah, right?
Whatever.
And
I
send
mean,
that
that's
stuff to the
hyper
cloud.
paranoid, but it's just going to be it's the way things are going to be, man. I think this is a feature that can be in almost everybody's hands at a very low cost, and will drive a lot of sales of peripheral devices for companies like Apple and Android device makers. I mean, like, I think it'd be really cool, like a Google, like, little, like, with Android inside, right, a little hockey puck kind of speaker thing.
Yeah.
With Google Now, that would be amazing.
Yeah, Google's actually developing a technology called Google Cast, which sounds like it may be on the fringe of that, but they're basically saying that you can have audio devices that use Android or something, and then
That's cool.
utilize some of those features. So yeah.
That's way cool. Ant Pruitt joining us. How you doing, Ant? Mr. Smartphone Photographer himself.
Unbelievable as always, brother. What's going on?
Good to have you. We were just mentioning that the Samsung phones or the TVs are listening to you. So.
Oh, ain't that crazy, dude? I saw that code.
Yeah.
Has Samsung rebutted any of this stuff?
No. They just said shh. Google I/O has a date, 2015. We have you on just because you're awesome and we like to kick it with you. Dan Patterson's also here. Look at us. All of us.
Dan.
I know, right? So May 28th and 29th, 2015 for Google I/O at the Moscone Center West, of course, for San Francisco. Now, you have a little campaign going on, sort of like Exploding Kittens, but not a Kickstarter. Probably not going to hit $5 million. But GoFundMe, you want to tell us about that real quick?
Yeah, one of our buddies, Mike Olson, he started a GoFundMe account for funding my trip out to Moscone Center in May, because I went last year, Matt, and I told everybody that I talked to about it that I will go back, and I didn't get into Moscone Center because of my press creds. You guys remember they limited the press for a lot of the people.
Were you all like, I'll be back, and then like got them all mean mugging?
I tried, and they just laughed at me, of course, and said, here, you can just give us $1,000, and yeah, we'll get in.
Yeah, I bet you could get on your So that's cool, and you're gonna raise some funds to get there this year.
Yeah, I'm gonna try it out, man. I said I will not miss it this year, and I'll pay whatever I can pay, but if I can get help on it, I'm not gonna turn it down. It was a great event, man, and just being out there, in the environment, I mean, of course, you had all of the keynote stuff that was going on, but after the keynote, just the energy there in San Francisco from all of these developers walking around and other people like me walking around and feeling the buzz and their excitement about digging into different products and trying to figure out what they're going to do to get leverage off of what Google was presenting. You know, it was pretty interesting, man.
That's cool, and even just for the chance to go and rub boots with all of these people that you read about and everything, like it's networking. You know, that's really cool.
And that's the thing. Last year when I went there, I made a lot more connections with people from a professional standpoint, and I'm still in touch with those guys, and I hope to see those guys again this year.
That's awesome. Well, you get $10 from me on payday, man.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate that.
For sure. So, and in trade for funding your trip, what do we get? I won't be selfish. What are you gonna give me for my money? And
I'm gonna paint the picture of my life experience unlike any other. How about that?
Ooh, living vicariously through Ant and his picturesque. Well, I like that.
I can paint the picture for you.
Yeah, content, right?
Exactly, and I'll do some vlog and stuff like I did last year. People enjoyed those little clips that I did last year, just from the journey to get there. You know, because flying from the East Coast to the West Coast, Dan Patterson can tell you it is interesting.
That's a trip for sure. Cross country, dude.
Couple hours.
Interesting, you know?
Right.
And I was only out there for a day and a half last year. But this year my intent is I'm going to try to stay a little bit longer and do a little more networking and hang out with the barbecue that goes on there and try to mingle with some of the other developers. And I'm sure I'm going to try to hang out with Todd more like I did in CES.
Yeah,
because he'll be there.
And you're going to bring back a bunch of cool free stuff.
The swag.
Or none at all.
Who knows? I might share that with you if I get it.
Ooh, I would like that. Actually, my roommate's been bugging me for a Chromebook. If anybody's got an extra Chromebook, send it my way. It'll be greatly appreciated. So, that's
glad they announced this early, though, man, because last year it was sort of last minute, at least for me.
Right.
When they announced it, it pretty much I had 3 weeks to figure out how I was going to get there. You know, and I felt a little bad and spending all that money, but it was worth it. You know, it's
a fun trip, right?
Yeah, I do it again.
Oh, and guess what? Our friend from Yats, Mike Rothman, he's retired. So
Mike's retired. That's right. You know what? Crash at the Rothman pad.
Yeah, we need to send him a bottle of scotch or something for his retirement. I like Mike.
Yeah, he's good people.
So, anything? I know it's way early, but do you have your eyes set on anything in particular, like that you're looking forward to at I/O getting announced? Maybe a new Nexus or something.
Me personally, I wish they would fix that swing and a miss they call the Nexus TV.
The Nexus Q? Oh, the TV.
The TV. Because when I saw it last year, I remember them having the game controller and it had a cord on it, and I was like, is this a set-top box or what? They never really said anything. They just talked about the interface and the user experience, which looked great. But supposedly it's not doing so well for folks, and I thought about buying one, but all of the reviews that I've seen...
I almost got one because of the price. But then when I added 2 controllers to it, that put it over the spot where my brain was like, yeah, you're kind of unemployed still, dude. Let's not.
So I just stick with the Chromecast for now.
Fill me in. I got a Chromecast and I love it. But what was remind me? What was the Nexus TV?
It was basically a Roku.
Yeah. It's the Roku and with a Chromecast shoved in its HDMI.
Yeah. To me, the big downside for it, just kind of off the cuff, was that you're limited to maybe 100 or 200 apps that are built specifically for it. But it's not like you can just use all the apps directly from the Play Store. You have to get apps specifically for the Nexus player.
Isn't that how the TV was? The original.
That's how Google TV was as well. And then of course that died a painful early death, and so I'm sort of stuck with a lot of the apps that are not out there for it. The only exception is Plex, because you guys know I love Plex.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They updated their Google TV app, and then they killed it off and ported the Android mobile over to Google TV, and it's flawless. It's beautiful.
Very nice.
I think it's got potential.
With that Plex. Oh, thanks, Nick. So with the Plex for the Nexus TV, how's the transcoding on that?
Nexus, I don't have the Nexus TV. I have the Google TV.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, I have Google TV. I thought about the Nexus TV, but I never saw anything good written about it, so I kept that money in my pocket.
So what do you guys think about the Nexus player?
That's what we're.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's what you're talking about. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. So it's the player. Right. I see. I see.
I think it's a swing and a miss, Dan. I do.
Yeah. So I mean, stacking up against the Fire thing, I mean, it seems to be a pretty one-to-one comparison. Except Amazon really has their act together when it comes to bundling their hardware and their shopping experience.
Yep.
Tell you what, I've never used much of Amazon anything. Had to get one of these little guys for my traveling,
Mm-hmm.
and then using Prime, and then that suckered me into Prime Pantry, and then next thing I know, I'm getting yelled at by my girlfriend for having Q-tips and cat litter sent to the house. And
I tell you, man, I think Amazon has done a world of good for everybody who likes to see content. Like, you remember, I mean, 5 years ago, right now the iPad was released, or like a month, right? I mean, like, this was a pre-tablet world 5 years ago, not that long ago. And I mean, the iPad is great, and the big awesome Nexus tablets are really great. I mean, I've had both of the Nexus 7s and liked them quite a bit, but Amazon really was there first, at least in terms of this new wave, and they started off with such a high price point. They really drove it downwards, and now you can get a color, Fire tablet. It's not the highest quality. I've used those too, and they're not the best. But I mean, hell, if you just want to sit back and read a magazine or a comic book or the news or something, I mean,
it's good enough for mom.
Yeah, right.
Basic media consumption, right? Newspapers.
Right. And the Nexus tablets are great, but $200, $250, $300. All right, you're getting a lot of cool geeky features, but when you just really want to kick back at the end of the day and read something, Amazon has broke that market wide open.
Yep.
Yeah, I like it. I really like because I was into playbooks. I wrote a whole thing on Breaking Modern about playbooks and Andy Weir's The Martian, and how this is the best. And man, the Kindle reading experience, there's some things that are kind of weird to get used to if you started on a different platform.
Yeah.
But, oh man,
I'll go back and forth on it myself.
Sure. I'm hooked. I'm hooked bad on that. I love it.
Right. I have a Kindle that has lived next to my bed for years, and I think I've replaced it once or twice with a newer version, but pretty much other gadgets come and go, but the Kindle is steadfast. If you read books, it lives next to your bed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. I'm excited I'm getting this job in Washington, so I'll be back and forth a lot. I don't have to bring my bookshelf. I'm just gonna bring my Kindle and my Chromebook and Lenny here, my all-in-one with the mixer, and I'll be good to go.
Yeah, we actually have about half a dozen different Kindle tablets here, more than all of our other tablets combined. So we have
really?
kids. Yeah, we have 4 kids, but we had every generation of Kindle, and then a couple for the kids specifically. And I've got only one Nexus tablet, and my wife only has one iPad. But still we have half a dozen of those tablets because they made them cheap enough and they made them feature-rich enough to where they'll sell really well.
Yeah, Nick, let me ask you, man. I have friends who have kids, and and young kids, and you like gifts and stuff. I want to get it, but it seems like it's a good gift for a kid. I mean, They make one for kids, right?
Yeah, they've got a 6-inch version specifically for kids, and some of the other ones you can still buy protective cases for it that make them kid-friendly. There's of course the kid mode. And even my wife, she's the one that uses them the most. She'll basically have a tablet. When she upgrades to the next one of those goes to one of the kids. So that's kind of how it kind of goes, gets distributed throughout the family.
Nice. Shane Brady joined us. It's been a while since we've had Shane.
Shane.
Oh, I know. What's going on, man?
Hold on, guys. I gotta figure out. My
Oh yeah,
sound.
no. Hey, do your thing. Just do it muted. So, yeah, that's cool. Do you think we're gonna see a lot more of that stuff at I/O? Like, I mean, what else could they work on? The auto stuff, right? We're gonna see some car stuff. Some
We'll
more
see the
wear.
car stuff, but I think that is a good question. What else is there to do
What's
in the
new?
world of tech? You know, that's
What's
going to be
new?
innovative kind of thing. You know, 'cause
Yeah,
it
I'm
was-
wondering
it was
if they
one
are-
IO. Sorry, go ahead, brother.
I'm wondering if they are going to introduce a competitor to the Amazon Echo, to the Alexa or whatever her name is. Like that seems like the next logical
the
step.
website that ranks stuff that Amazon owns. I don't. Am I confused
what's-
here?
No,
What's the
that-
name of the voice?
I think it's Alexa, but I can look.
They also
think it's
have a
Alexa.
voice thing. Okay, I'm confused now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How you doing, Shane? What's going on, man?
Not too much. How long you guys been going? I didn't know if I was gonna be late or not.
No, you're all right. We started about 40 minutes ago.
So I was thinking, you guys were talking about Alexa, and all of these podcasts ask, why isn't Google doing this? And I keep thinking, what would the tech press say about Google having a listening device that's always on in your house?
In Germany, they would freak.
Creepy and privacy. Think that'd be the buzzwords?
Yeah, I mean, you can walk around with Google Glass, which is obviously you're wearing a camera on your head, and that's privacy invading. And then you have this thing that's listening always on in your house. The same people wondering why Google didn't do it, would complain that Google is invading your privacy.
Of course.
Then don't buy it. I
Yeah,
really don't understand the logic here.
I feel like
Oh,
you have to know that, right? I mean, these devices have microphones and whatnot. Like, how it's always a possibility. It's just this is validation, right? Of those.
It's the feature.
The
And
sum of
Matt,
all.
say OK Google or Hey Moto X or something. Like,
Okay, Google.
it's always listening.
It is. It does that when I'm listening to podcasts on it. Like, it knows, and it's like, oh, wait, what? Oh, never mind. Oh, awesome. Moto X 2013, that's the one I've got here. Just really waiting for that next update, Verizon. Possibly some chipset issues causing these Android L, how should we say, delays, perhaps? Some
man.
problem.
So in other words, you're stuck, dude.
It kind of sounds like it, but that's fine. I'll ride this out until my contract.
Of course.
It's a little confusing as to what that could be because that same chip is in I think the Nexus 7 2013. It's in the Nexus 4, I believe. Like it's the Snapdragon S4 Pro, and those devices have Android L. And I did some searching around before the show and not really seeing very many people complaining about performance issues.
I'll say for me, with my Nexus 4, I updated Lollipop, and it actually ran just fine on there. So that's actually, I would say, a good entry-level point for it. I think if you have something like a Moto G or something slightly lower spec, maybe you don't want to upgrade to Lollipop so soon because there seems to be a lot of complaints, particularly on lower-end smartphones and tablets with regard to Lollipop, just demanding more. I know for myself, I have the original, well, I can't find it, but the original Nexus 7 tablet, the one that came out in 2012, and I updated Lollipop, and immediately my notebook ground to a halt in terms of being, speedy. It was operating just fine on KitKat, doing everything it normally did with all of the previous versions of Android that I ran on it. But with Lollipop, it just ran really slow. And even for my YouTube channel and on my Google Plus page, I posted about it. And then I factory reset, but back to Lollipop on my Nexus 7, and it was better, but it was still relatively slow, and that's always been a problem. So if you have lower-end hardware, the update to Lollipop probably isn't something you need to really want too much. But if you have something like a Nexus 4 or a Moto X,
that's interesting. I talked about this on a Breaking Android episode that's going to be coming out soon. It's only the Nexus 7 that seems to be affected with this. I have the 10, and there's no problems with it. And from what the reports online are, like it's the 7. So that is kind of interesting that like it's.
Yeah, and one thing to think about is the Nexus 7, the original one, is significantly slower than the Nexus 10, so that may be part of the factor as well.
To be
I
fair,
think
it runs terrible on the Nexus 9 too. Lollipop runs bad on the Nexus 9.
I got lucky, I guess, because, and maybe I just assume it's going to be slower anyway because of the legacy hardware. But when I updated to Lollipop, I let it run, and I didn't touch it for at least a day. I didn't even touch it. And maybe it settled. I don't know. And then it got another update with this, 0.2 update. I think that's what it was. It got that, and I just didn't touch it. Just let it do its thing and let all those apps update again, because that's what frustrates me the most about my Nexus 7 is booting it up and all of my apps update at the same time, and that drives it to a halt. But other than that, it seems to be fine. I don't expect it to be super fast because it's an older device, you know?
I turned this on. There we go. I don't know if any of you were watching my little thumbnail, but I turned this on like 10 seconds ago, and then that screen finally showed up. So there's something still wrong with this, even after a factory reset to pretty much stock settings. So,
what is that? Is that the
original Nexus 7?
Really? It was that fat looking?
Yep.
Okay. It's so long. I have to say,
it's all about perspective.
Lollipop runs better on my Nexus 7 2013 than it does on my Moto X 2014.
I'm waiting for it to go vertical. There we go. Now it's vertical.
Yeah, that's slow. Yeah.
So welcome to my world with Lollipop 502.
Yeah. And we only recently got the Lollipop update for the LTE version, like last week, for the Nexus 7.
Does that let you roll back the OS? I mean, no.
You can flash it.
Yeah, right. You can hack it, but
rollback is not
not internally, I don't believe. Well, yeah, because you can go into like a safe mode reboot and roll it back. Maybe not.
You can?
I think you have to reflash it.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Which actually isn't that
because it's
hard.
upgrading.
Yeah, no, it's very quick, especially if you have the ROMs and everything saved like on an SD card or something. But yeah, that's interesting. I wonder what the deal is. Let's see. Next, you guys want to talk about Google Glass? The next version now. Some thought it was dead, laying in a grave right next to RSS, but nay, coming back with a vengeance. New version, 100% redesigned. What does that even mean?
What I hope it means is something like from Demon and Freedom TM.
Yes, I want lenses.
What is that, Ant?
Contact.
The HUDs, you know, a nice, stylish, look like some Gunner glasses that are Google Glass.
I want a Metroid Prime. You remember that game, Samus Aran's helmet? I want that helmet over. I want that.
Did you guys read? The New York Times had an article last week. I think it was Nick Bilton wrote an article about the internal history of Google Glass and the politics behind the different iterations of the product internally, and then how it was released. And it sounds like it was just competing factions with different visions for the product, and then Sergey Brin had kind of executive authority and made some decisions. But it's a really interesting article if you want to read like kind of the inside story of Glass. I mean, it's certainly like it can't be said to be a failure because it broke the market open for this really, this hyperbolic wearables movement that is actually interesting, you know.
Isn't this what you would expect, though? The first version was like, hey, explore, check it out, tell us what's up. Then they're going to take all that data and
totally disagree.
The new version better. I mean, you knew that getting into it, right? That as an explorer, you were beta testing hard.
Hell no. I
No?
totally disagree with that. Yeah. I think, I mean, that's I respectfully disagree.
No, we need to disagree for sure.
So
We all.
I don't think so at all, and I think it's letting Google off the hook too easily to say that. Let's not forget the recent history. This was released at Google I/O to one of the biggest and most crazy. I mean, skydivers coming down and then on bikes riding into a stadium wearing glass. That's not a beta product. That's hype. All right,
Yeah.
you don't
Yeah.
partner. You don't partner with Diane von Furstenberg. You don't do DVF. That's hype. Fashion. That's the center of the fashion industry. That is hype.
Yeah.
Google hyped the living hell out of this product, and now they're retreading and backtracking. They charge an outlandish price, marketed to the least desirable demographic of people. You know, the people who would make their product look the worst instead of developers. They tried to go for people. They didn't market to developers. I think it's a total myth that they marketed to developers. I think they blew it. If they had gone to nerds, developers, like, it would be put to cool, hacky uses, and a better product would have emerged. Instead, they went this insanely like Samsung-esque kind of direction with the hype around it, and they totally blew it. And I think it's letting Google off the hook to not acknowledge that. Now, everything you just said, Matt, is totally right. They are going to internalize this and make it cooler. I think Microsoft just kicked their ass. I mean, last week with the HoloLens, that's Google Glass how it should have been.
Well, the thing that I think they
not get off the hook for blowing that one.
Yeah, I think what they did is they just failed to capitalize. They had all the materials. The parts were like under $200 for everything to make. I know they had development costs, but I mean, just to be blunt, they could have produced something. I mean, Google I/O is coming up in what, March or May, and that will be, I think, 3 years or 2 years. Let's see, the last Google I/O and the one before that is where they thank you. And they should have had a product out.
Yeah.
They had something that was working, that they were selling at least an Explorer edition for
sure.
For 3 or 4 times its value. So,
right.
anyway.
Look, you can get an Oculus Rift developers version, which they are correctly marketing to developers.
DK2.
They're doing it correct. And right, $350 you can get you can do Oculus right now, which, like, what would you rather have, Oculus or Google Glass? Come on.
Yeah.
For sure. You know what's interesting though? I feel like it would have went differently do you remember that first video they came out with? And they were like, this is
so awesome.
This is glass. If they would have released a video that actually showed glass, not what glass could be, and showed how it actually worked, I don't think there would have been
vaporware.
Near this much hype. It was, right? It was like, here's what every nerd's wet dream for some overly.
I was so into it, and they made a half.
Right? They pulled at those fake reality heartstrings, and they created that.
Right,
Yeah,
they made a $500 million investment in Warby Parker that has materialized nothing. Maybe it will. Maybe like the next glasses I buy at Warby Parker will be cool with glass in it, but I highly doubt it. I mean, for $500 million, I mean, I'm making presumptions on things I don't know, and it's not fair. I'm being overly critical. I just think that, like,
but yeah.
Well, it's been 3 years.
For $1,500, you're not being overly critical.
Right, and see, to me, I rationalize
there are some
by saying you are going to develop an app and get a return on that investment. But apparently, I guess that's not exactly how it went.
They didn't. If they wanted developers to have this, they would have charged them $500, put out an SDK, and set up hackathons in every major city in the country.
They wanted explorers to have.
Right. They wanted. I mean, which became a euphemism, whether they intended it or not. It became a euphemism for douchebag. Explorer, come on, man.
Glasshole.
Right.
Yeah. Shane, you got any thoughts as you wear your glass? You're not filming this, are you? Hey. Are you filming me?
I don't know. No.
Don't get me wrong. Glass is cool as hell. They I think, blew it with the rollout.
So I have Google Glass for one purpose only, and that's to take photographs of all our pets in their later years in perspectives that we couldn't before. And I guess for parents, if you have kids and all that. But even if they hadn't had the hype and had just released it like they did with Oculus Rift, I'm just not sure what you could do with it outside of like as a consumer product versus like a vertical product, because
right.
I don't know. I mean, it's probably not practical to have it in your actual glasses all the time, you know. And I don't. And for the rest of the country who doesn't, well, is. If you're older, it's harder to use because it's hard to focus on that. I think at the actual market, it's a lot narrower. But and the only far I think is that the interface obviously learned and applied that to Android Wear. And I have a Moto 360 that I have to.
I thought it was.
I think it works really well for a watch. So if Sergey hadn't been given so much latitude to do that presentation, it could have gone a whole lot better. Like what Dan said. As an engineer, looking at that article though, sorry, I don't know. As an engineer, I could see both sides of that New York Times article. Engineers don't want to release it till it's perfect.
Right.
But business can't wait that long.
And product people want to get it in the hands of people.
Right, totally.
Yeah. And we should have had a product by now.
And that's how it's kind of always been. I remember a story a friend of mine used to always tell me. He worked at Intel way back in the day when the very first digital cameras were coming out. And they were always so concerned with getting it out, regardless of if they got all the bugs fixed or not, so that they could move on to the next project. And they were rarely did they ever get a chance to finish anything, like actually finish it. They were just pumping these products out the door because, time, we got to get this done.
Yeah, you can innovate through iteration, and that's something that Google didn't do. They had one product, which just no offense, wasn't even high spec at the time it was announced.
Beta, it's alpha.
Yeah, and they didn't do anything with it, and they sold it for too high a price and exaggerated its features and functionality too much, and honestly didn't let the market decide. They should have released it.
Thought Ingress like that's made.
Well, I think that's the problem though, is that a lot of us thought Ingress, and the reason we thought Ingress was because we were. I'm not saying it's our fault, but what I'm saying is that Google Glass came out at the same time as things like Oculus, so you're comparing something that is not augmented reality and is not virtual reality to those platforms because they're both sitting in front of your face. So right then and there, a lot of people got it and were instantly disappointed because it was really just a way to
It wasn't what the video showed.
Alerts.
No, liars. That was evil.
The one thing they did get right is that experience, sort of what Shane is talking about, the experience of sort of recording, taking pictures, doing it hands-free, that is better, and I think you look like less of a douchebag than having a GoPro strapped onto the top of your head like an alien. Because I saw those people.
That is true.
And I was less of a glass hole than they were.
We have a GoPro to bring snowboarding. You either have the helmet thing or you have the selfie stick. And neither of us even want to mess with that. So it usually just stays in the car. You need it floating, following you, like the Phantasm ball. Remember Phantasm, that old Phantasmagoria? All right, anyway. Shane, are you going to I.O. this year?
No, for personal reasons, I'm not doing any traveling this year.
You have $10 to pitch in for Ant's trip to I.O. this year. He has a GoFundMe.
Maybe $20.
We're all kicking in $10. Awesome. All right, let's see. Before we get out of here, what do you guys? Let's pick a couple more things. You want to talk about the NVIDIA Shield tablet, the X1 version coming out possibly this summer? I want one of these, but every time I go to look, like the first Gen 1 is cheap and the specs suck, and the next Gen 1 is too expensive, and then I don't buy one because I am also kind of unemployed. So, this might be one that I'll maybe consider getting. I don't know.
What didn't you like about the first gen?
It's just, at this point, I feel like it's too old. Anything with less than 2 gigs of RAM for Android is just poop. Poop soup.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
When you say first gen, do you mean the Shield or the Shield tablet?
Yes, the original. Yeah, the Shield. Sorry, not the Shield tablet. Yeah.
Okay. I thought you were talking about the tablet because I like the Shield tablet.
Yeah, no, the tablet's a lot newer, obviously, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think that if you were going to get a tablet, the Shield tablet is going to be on sale. Like we already saw it during Christmas. Yeah, I think it was maybe $50 off, and then it came with some games. If you have the opportunity before summer to buy it, I say buy it. It's a very solid device. You're going to be happy with it.
I went with the Kindle instead. I don't know.
I think it runs better than the Nexus 9.
You know what?
Yeah.
The Kindle, the Paperwhite, has a thing called
Yeah, it does.
experimental browser.
That's
You
funny.
know how to crash it? Go to a website.
You want to know a funny piece of crazy old trivia from that experimental browser, which has been like experimental since the earliest Kindles I've ever seen. So
has that?
in China, they have the Great Firewall of China, and they can't or access Twitter. They couldn't access Twitter. They can't access Twitter.
Disable.
And yeah, back in the day, people were tweeting from China on that browser, I think for a good year, because they could type on an actual keyboard, and it wasn't blocked by the firewall.
Wow.
This was probably, Gen 1 or Gen 2.
That's so old and random. I love it. I love it. That's perfect.
Some website recently ran a tip for if you run out of use Twitter, use your Kindle 3G to access Twitter.com because it'll last forever.
Yeah, right. I guess you paid for lifetime Sprint data on that thing.
This is kind of cool. The Tegra X1 that's going to be in these new Shield tablets, built on a 20 nanometer chip that has a 256 core Maxwell GPU. Nerd boners. Processor side boasts of an octa-core setup with big dot little architecture. What is that, Shane? What is big dot little dot architecture?
.biz.
./gov. .org.
Usually
.edu.
Usually has to do with little endian or big endian.
No, I think it's just like usually there's a more powerful set of cores that are used for all your more intensive tasks, and when you're doing light work, just browsing or something like that, moving through pages or whatever, that's when you use a little CPU core. So that's all it is. It's similar to the big little architecture that Samsung was using a couple years ago. And I think they even did that on their Nexus 10 and one of the Chromebooks.
We're talking about 4 ARM Cortex A57 cores paired with 4 ARM Cortex A53 cores.
Mind blown.
Right? In the dirt. In the dirt. So, yeah, pretty cool. It's only going to be like $18,000 when it comes out, but that's fine. I'll put one on layaway.
Yeah, start now. You'll get it before the NVIDIA Shield Tablet 3 comes out. It'll be good.
You can Gmail me money. It has medics@gmail.com. Awesome. Eric, pick something else, and then let's wrap this thing up.
All right. We cannot end the show without talking about that Android ad, the Be Together, Not the Same ad. Did you guys see this?
I keep seeing the F word thrown around a lot in regards to that ad. Fragmentation.
What ad is this?
The F word. Fragmentation.
I don't know if I saw it during the Super Bowl, but it's just basically the one where it's like a community and everybody getting together and they all have different Android phones. Is that the one I'm thinking about?
No. So this is one with everybody's favorite gimmick, which is animals, and not just any animals, cute animals that you want to tickle. I'm gonna throw a link in the chat for you guys.
I'm gonna click it good.
Do it. It starts out, like anything should, which you have an orangutan and a dog, and then you have some baby little chickies, breastfeeding from a cat. Like, it's amazing.
Oh my gosh.
It's a highly entertaining ad.
This shouldn't be big.
you guys.
I do remember seeing that now.
Can I screen share this with you real quick?
I do remember seeing that.
Take a quick look as soon as this loads. I think I have my girlfriend's in our room streaming YouTube, and I think our roommates in the living room also stream.
Yeah, you're going to kill the hangout on that.
Wow, I feel like I'm back in 1995 again. Thanks.
Lock it down.
Dial it up.
It's an elephant. It looks like an elephant. Oh, there's a dog. I see a dog.
I'm waiting for boobies.
I was going to say, where's the porn?
Oh. So hold on. What does this have to do with Android?
They're best friends. I think it's poking a little fun at the people that say that there's too much fragmentation. Why doesn't your phone look like a bigger or smaller version of my phone? It's ridiculous.
You know, I found it interesting. I want to say it was Kushik, whatever his name, Kush. I think he had shared. Yeah, I think he shared earlier in the week about fragmentation on iOS. He pulled up a
look at that dog.
A screen with code, and basically he had to break down iPhone 4 versus iPhone 5 versus iPhone 6, and because people are still using them all the way back to the iPhone 4, right?
All the way back.
It was. I think it was. I'm looking for it right now. I think it was iPhone 4, and yeah, it was basically a case statement, and it was know, if the device name string equals this, then do this, and you know.
So they have fragmentation now. Not everybody's jumping on the 6, especially when they can get that 4 for free, I'm sure.
And what they want developers to do, and we do it too, you just cut off with 7. And that's it. All previous devices are gone.
Awesome.
Right. I think that's how it should be. Kill them off.
Kill them all. Awesome. You know what this reminds me of? I started recently writing a column for a website called StuffStonersLike.com. The column's called More Deadly Than Weed. Basically, each week I look at something that has killed more people than pot. And the most recent one I wrote was about photography and how people taking pictures of stuff like just get killed. Like this lady taking a picture of a train going one way on tracks going the other way, gets hit. Not even see it. From there, I saw this thing about guys on Tinder taking pictures of themselves with tigers, and there's a whole Tumblr. I gotta here. Oh, you guys are gonna love this. This has absolutely nothing to do with Android. It's called Tinder Guys with Tigers.tumblr.com, and basically there was an article on CNET about how it's dangerous to do this sort of stuff, and you guys should, be really careful. And then there's a thing happening in New York that they're trying to ban close contact with these animals at like zoos and whatnot, so people can't actually get killed or whatever. But yeah, there's a whole thing here of dudes in Tinder just being like, "Yo, what's up?" Oh, that's a tiger. No big deal. So,
is this like bear selfies?
Yeah, right? It's like that. That's one I used in the article. A kid that took a picture of himself and a bear in the background, and then the bear ate him, basically. So.
Well, that's.
I don't know.
It was totally worth it, though.
I live in Montana.
Laid off that.
Bears are very real. Never actually taken a selfie with one. So.
That's why you're still here.
I heard, actually, when we were writing today, it's been so warm, my roommate thought he saw some bear poop there, which means, check this out, bears are going to wake up way early and have a whole bunch of us to eat. It's going to be terrible.
Don't get eaten, dude.
Probably not going to get a refund either on my pass, so that's fine.
Yeah, you're screwed.
Just
all right. Let's wrap this thing up. Thank you guys so much. Let's start with Ant. What are you doing? What's your site? Give it a plug. Unplug it.
Check us out on AmazingPhonePhotos.com as well as Smartphone-Photographers.com. The latter site is more of a how-to and discussion website.
And you do a weekly hangout.
And we do a weekly hangout on there with a bunch of smartphone photographer nerds, and it's a lot of fun. We have a good time, pretty loose conversation, but people tend to learn some nice tips and tricks.
Yeah, it's really cool. Definitely.
Appreciate it.
Dan, you want to mention anything in particular? What's the zombie site again? That's awesome.
Hey, man, the zombie apocalypse is inevitable and lives at thezombieapocalypse.com. Not .biz, .com.
.com, baby.
.gov/org. .info. .zombie. I'm excited to start a little zombie podcast with you, perhaps at some point.
Yeah, we got some very very cool stuff in the works when it comes to zombie podcasts and other fun zombie related stuff. I mean, zombie comic books for sure. Check your local comic book store this spring.
Hell yeah. Eric, what's up? What's our email address? Unmute your. Yeah.
I'm trying to unmute. I'm sorry. I missed my cue. Our email address is show@attackoftheandroids.com. Don't step on my line, Matt. Jesus. Show@attackoftheandroids.com.
Eric, what's our email address?
It's show@attackoftheandroids.com.
Thank you. Nick, you got some unboxings and fun videos on your YouTube page. What is that page?
It's youtube.com/user/Ultron2K. I'm trying to get to 500 subscribers so I can change that to something that's not a Marvel supervillain with the 2K at the end of it. So.
Oh yeah, I like that.
.info.
Shane, it's been amazing to have you back. You should join us next week and stuff. Are you there, Shane?
Yeah, I like their app that we're working on, which is a New York City focused app when my wife's not uploading Flickr photos. But otherwise, you can find out what I'm up to. Our app, Group Up, is not quite where we want it yet in terms of the features. I can get into a whole big discussion about iterative development on iOS versus Android. But otherwise, just go to shanebrady.com and I'll keep people updated there.
Hey, just real quick, which one's better, iOS or Android for development? Just from your opinion, from your use. Real quick.
I'm gonna go with Android.
Ooh, is that
Android?
Ooh, I like that. I like that a lot. All right. Thank you guys so much. Attackoftheandroids.com. Check out Breaking Android. It's over on breakingmodern.com. Just search for Matt Lee. You'll find it there. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook and Google+. Got an Instagram all over the internet. So check it out. I got some hip-hop, too, on Amazon and iTunes and Google Play. Search for Matt Lee, The Chthonic Chronicles, Polici Present. Check it out. So thanks for listening. We'll see you next Tuesday. Bye, everyone.
Bye.